All right, let's switch gears and focus on another big derby in the Premier League. Tottenham against Arsenal. Huge North London derby. Easy question for you, Nick Mendola. Who needs a win more? Because all signs point to Arsenal winning this one. Spurs capable of an upset, but when they met earlier in the season, Arsenal kind of brushed Spurs aside pretty easily at home. They've been excellent under Mikel Arteta so far this season, deservedly sit top of the table. But who needs to win more, Arsenal or Tottenham? Because Spurs languishing a little bit, right, after a good start to the season, and now they need some kind of momentum boost from somewhere.
For their season goals, for their preseason goals, Tottenham needs a win more. But, and I think we could walk through that, and we could spend a whole long time talking about it, making a lot of fairly obvious points. But I'll tell you why Arsenal needs a win almost as much. We see dips in the Premier League. We talked about it earlier with Man City. And if a dip coincides with, let's put it this way, if Arsenal wins this derby or loses this derby away to Tottenham, which is in a Harry Kane world, very reasonable, and Man City goes to Man United and wins, how is the discussion not, how is Arsenal going to recover from this? Losing a derby and losing ground to a team it still has to play twice in the Premier League and again in a cup in short time. So I think the answer to your question is Tottenham needs it more, but I don't think the gulf between, well, can Arsenal survive a loss? Yeah, according to preseason expectations, but their expectations now are to compete for a title. Yeah. And they can lose this and be fine, but mentally, can they lose this and be fine?
I mean, there's so much pressure on these North London derbies anyway, but when we talk about the situation, I mean, Arsenal, like I said, top of the league, expectations been exceeded. They're 11 points ahead of Tottenham heading into this game, and Tottenham have played a game more as well. So at the start of the season, we were all talking about Tottenham. Are they going to be title contenders? And I think most of us had them finishing maybe above Arsenal, right? I think this season, just given the signings they made and the progress that they made at the end of last season, just pipping Arsenal to the fourth place. And I'm kind of with you, though. I think Tottenham need this more. I think Arsenal, if they got a draw, that wouldn't be the end of the world. Even if they lost it, I still think they could recover. I still think I've seen enough from them this season to suggest they wouldn't collapse in their title bid, however unlikely it seemed. It is a title bid. So I think they can recover from that. But Tottenham, if they were to lose big here, I could just see it kind of unraveling pretty quickly, given Antonio Conte's comments, maybe a lack of additions in January, and the fact that they lose even more ground on the likes of United, who are surging. Liverpool kind of look back to their old selves as well a little bit. So I'd worry more for Tottenham if they lost this game. But when we talk about Arsenal, it's been really impressive to me to see the way that they just keep clicking through the gears after the World Cup, even with losing Gabriel Jesus. Yes, he didn't score that many goals, but he was so key to their attack, right? Just knitting it all together. But Eddie Nketiah, talk about stepping up when you need him. He's just been waiting in the wings all season long. 4 goals in his last 4 games heading into this one. Do you think he can sustain that? And this is a huge game for him, right? To say, I've got this. You can count on me when you really need it, because it's okay doing it against some of the teams he scored against recently. No disrespect to them in cup competitions, etc. But in a North London derby, when you really need someone to step up, you're going to need your centre forward to deliver in these situations. So can we count on Nketiah to do this for Arsenal, not only against Tottenham, but in those big games against City coming up?
I don't know that you can count on him, but there isn't a reason to expect him to do poorly. And those are two very different things. I'll tell you what, I'm guaranteeing you're going to get at least 2 big chances and probably a goal from Harry Kane. And I'm not counting on Nketiah to score. I'm counting on Martin Odegaard to produce at least 3 big chances for someone else.
Saka, Martinelli, whoever.
Right. Yeah. But who's the name that we haven't mentioned we have mentioned, but he's not going to mention during the game is Jesus. Gabriel Jesus is a phenomenal player, and if he's there, I don't even think I'm thinking about who wins this game. The only chance I'm giving Tottenham if he's there is the fact that it's a derby and crazy things happen in derbies. Without him, it does come down to Nketiah or who's there. And this is one of those games where you miss Alexander Lacazette being around, because he was savvy and he was someone you can count on to be a 6.5 out of 10. You can count on him to not kill you. Can you count on Nketiah to not kill you? That'll be the bigger question.
Yeah, I like what he's done though recently. He stepped up onto a whole new level and just slotted in pretty seamlessly. And I'm pretty confident if I'm an Arsenal fan that all season long someone stepped up, right? Be it Martinelli, be it Odegaard, be it Saka. Someone stepped up. In Xhaka and Partey as well, scored big goals at big times. Yeah, I'd feel pretty confident as an Arsenal fan going into this North London derby, I have to say. But that said, Conte Spurs are weird. They're a very weird side. They're very unpredictable. 1 week they can look terrible, hardly create any chances. The next, we saw it against Palace, right? Blew them out of the water. And when Kane's around, especially in a North London derby, and Son as well, like, they just always seem to pull something out of nothing. We saw it with the wins against Man City in recent seasons. Just when they're at their lowest point and you didn't expect anything, they pull out a big win. So can you actually see that happening this weekend, or would the draw be a very positive step forward for Tottenham right now?
Well, this is where I told you how much I favor Harry Kane, how I think he's been absolutely fantastic this year. The question for me on how this game plays out for them is, this is a guy in Kane who's still at almost 1.75 key passes per game. His expected assists is 4, and he has 1. So are we going to see his supporting cast deliver the goals? Richarlison's still waiting for his first Premier League goal as a member of Spurs. There are, and that's just an example. It's not saying that he should start or he could start or whatever. I'm just saying you need someone besides Kane to score goals. I mean, Højbjerg's tied for the second most goals in the Premier League on that team this year. Betancourt as well. Now that means they're overperforming, but we need to see more from the supporting forwards. And that's why we've seen some kind of unorthodox players getting big minutes for them at key times. So that's the X factor for me. I know Harry Kane's going to deliver. Harry Kane, I can think of 3 or 4 North London derby moments off the top of my head from him. I don't know how many others I'm thinking of for that.
Yeah, you're right. And you mentioned the supporting cast there. Obviously, Richarlison, Kulusevski, Betancourt, they're all struggling with injuries. They could be back for this game. So that maybe would, if those 3 are back and playing some role, either off the bench with those forward players or Betancourt is in midfield, then I think that gives this game kind of a totally different dynamic and gives Tottenham a much better chance of just controlling it a bit better. I was at the North London derby at the Emirates earlier this season, and Arsenal just blew them away in the first half. And then again in the second as well. They could just crank through the gears and just breeze past Tottenham. But I feel like if they can keep it focused, especially defensively, they've got those players, Kane, like we mentioned, on the break to hurt them. And that stylistic point, Nick, I mean, you're at home in a North London derby for Tottenham. What did they do here? Did they go all out to try and grab an early goal and try and set the tempo for this occasion? Because Arsenal usually do that to other teams, right? They are really, really good at coming out and always seem to get a goal in the first 10 minutes, usually Saka, usually Martinelli, and then that just sets them up for the rest of the game and they can counter and then use Odegaard's wonderful vision. So how would you approach this, and sort of stylistically, should these teams make any changes? Should Tottenham be more front-footed? Because it feels like at the moment, if they sit back really deep and Arsenal score early, the home fans are going to get on their back. Conte is going to be frustrated, and that's just not going to be a good situation for anyone.
I'll be interested to see where the line of confrontation is, because I think you'll see a very, I'll say this, a very Serie A version where they are a little packed in and compact, but it's higher up the pitch. I think they're going to want to challenge Arsenal for the ball a little higher up. And if that happens, I like the chances, because I want Kane counterattacking. I want him deciding where to go with the ball and who to find an attack, but I don't want that happening like Leicester used to counter. So I think we'll see that from Conte, because he doesn't want Martin Odegaard with the full field in front of him in time to operate.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It always is when these two teams clash. Prediction-wise, what we going with for Tottenham Arsenal? I'm probably going to go with Arsenal 2-1, I think. I think it's going to be tight, but I can just see them having that extra bit of firepower, an extra bit of control of the game defensively. What do you think?
So I'm going to go with a draw, but one of the draws that still leaves not a draw everyone says, oh, what a great game. Both teams are happy how they come out of it, but a game where Arteta feels like we should have had all 3 points, and Conte feels, yeah, I got a point, but I can't believe we got a point.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. That'll be a step in the right direction for Tottenham, and Arsenal, I think, will be okay with that. These are some tough games they've got to navigate over the next few weeks, and we're starting to see, I think, their squad being overused quite a lot, especially the forwards, and why they need to potentially bring in Mudryk or someone else up top to just ease the burden on Saka, Martinelli, and others up there. But it's going to be fun, Nick. North London derby is always fun, and head over to Pro Soccer Talk on NBCSports.com for the preview, how to watch information. We'll have analysis, live reaction during and after the game. And like I said, always delivers. Usually a goal for Harry Kane, so he's usually good for that in a North London derby. But let's see if Arsenal, the Premier League leaders, can just crank up a bit more pressure on the teams below them to say, come on, guys, we're the real deal. Try and catch us if you can. And this is a big, big game for both teams because Tottenham, my word, they need a boost to boost their top 4 chances after a tough few weeks for Spurs.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. For even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you over there.